You're listening to Smoke Meat with Brad Pittman. I'm your host. We are sponsored by Joe's Underground in the corner of 8th and Broad in the bottom of the Lamar Building in Augusta, Georgia. So it's a great place to go, have a drink, have a good time with your friends. They treat you like family. I goes to Joe's and so should you. Today, my guest is Miss Stacey Toy. Stacey went to Oxford and got her master's in journalism. She is now the chief operating officer of 25/8 Studios. Has worked with a lot of really great people, has done so many cool things, and we're going to talk about that today. So we're going to get this thing kicked off. So how you doing today, Stacey?
I'm doing great, Brad Pittman. That is the coolest name ever, Brad Pittman.
Oh, yeah. I'm like Brad Pitt, but I'm the man.
Oh, you said that before, haven't you?
I have. My goal actually is to make it where when Brad Pitt introduces himself, they say, oh, like Brad Pittman. That's my goal.
That's funny. Oh, that's a good goal. You know, like my last name's Toy, and so when people try to screw me over in business, I'm like, listen, my last name might be Toy, but I don't play these games, okay? So you got to do what you got to do. But I mean, that's a cool name. So it's great to meet you, Brad. Even though we've been talking all day.
Yeah, I tell you, I've had a ball so far. I mean, I wished I'd have been recording half the stuff, but I'm glad that I hadn't.
Yeah, I'd probably get sued.
You ain't kidding. But yeah, I know. I was talking about my intro, you know, where you had gotten your master's in journalism from Oxford, and you know, you're now the COO of 25/8 Studios, which you just explained the name to me, and that is awesome.
Yeah, my business partner, he named the 25/8 Studios because 24/7 isn't enough time. So it's all him. It's Mark Tannenbaum Jr. in Scranton. You can find us at the number 258 and studios.com. Yeah, or you can reach out to me and do all that. We'll do that at the end. Sorry. Jump into conclusions. I know people don't listen sometimes all the way to the end, so.
Hey, you can use it as punctuation if you want to, 258 Studios.
Well, I'm not going to overdo it because, you know, I was in media too. Doing the same newscast over and over for 4 hours every morning was like, we're good. But just throwing it out there.
I used to do radio, and I like when I first started the podcast, when I would interview anybody, I was still new enough to where it was very, I don't want to say dry, it was more newsy. I'd use the radio voice. You know, if you had done this 40 or 50 episodes before, I would have been like, so, Stacey, tell me a little bit about yourself. And
in tonight's news.
Yes. And now I finally figured out talking's more fun.
Of course it is. Everybody does the news stuff on news. It's like, hi, I'm serious, but I party on a Saturday night. Like, we know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, good. That's cool, though. I liked radio. I had a radio show in college for like 4 years, and it was a 90 show. And then I got Sirius XM radio in my car, and they tell you the dates, like the years, and none of the freaking music that I think I played for the 80s and 90s was actually in that decade. So, yeah.
Nice.
Talk about fake it till you make it, right?
If people like it, it works.
Sure, because they were probably as dumb as me, like going, oh, yeah, New Kids on the Block, you know, all 90s. But nope, they came out in the late 80s, like Motley Crue. I was playing Dave Matthews. Well, luckily they didn't record things and keep them, you know, for years and years and years. But, you know, I feel better now that I got that out, like almost like a confession because it's on a podcast that I've been keeping. So, yeah, I'm sorry. Here's my penance.
I tell you, my feelings really got hurt not too long ago. I was listening to the classic stations, and they talked about the Go-Go's being classic music, and they formed in 1980, and I'm like, the Go-Go's have been around for 40 years, really? And that kind of hurt my feelings because I remember being a teenager when the Go-Go's were big, and I'm like, man, I'm getting old.
Oh, I'm getting there. I know everyone's like, oh, you're only 36. Like, I'm widowed and I have 2 kids and all this crap. So technically I'm like 60, but I feel you because my kids hate my music now. Well, my oldest, because the 90s are kind of back in style, he's kind of liking it. But the rap that kids listen to these days. Like, what happened to Tupac and, KRS-One and all the good stuff? Like, I don't understand so much of it now, and I guess that makes me officially old.
I tell you what, you're kind of lucky. Are either of your kids into K-pop?
No.
My oldest daughter is, and oh man, I love making her mad about it because I'll say, "Do you understand half of what's being said?" She said, "No, but I'm trying to learn Korean." I said, "For all you know,"
yeah,
I said, "For all you know, you're listening to them sing a song about soup." And that pisses her off so bad when I say that. Like, it's not about soup, Daddy.
They just all look alike, I see posters of them. It's like, did you really need, 9 of them? And then when one, doesn't do well, do they just, put the other clone back in and dye his hair pink, Yeah,
the typical boy band. I didn't know till a couple of years ago. You remember the band Menudo?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that there was, a constantly shifting membership there.
Yeah, it was nuts. I learned about that though, maybe 10 years ago. But I grew up doing it, but I mean, clearly I didn't care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they all looked like Ricky Martin, I guess, to me, and that's not right to say, but yeah. It was the 80s.
Hey, when there's a formula that works, you follow that formula.
Yeah, yep. And then, you got to have replacements because band members, I'm sure, die and, have drug problems. And you got to love the entertainment industry.
Yeah, now, I tell you, I'll tell you a band that I always respected, and my kids watched them when they were younger, was the Jonas Brothers. And the reason I always respected them, one, they're family, and they stayed out of controversy. You never heard a big scandal about them. But what I loved is the fact that, how a lot of people, when the teens like them, as their audience starts getting older, they want to branch out as artists. And, well, my audience is great. The Jonas Brothers understood, okay, these kids are getting older, but these kids don't have our stuff yet, and they're coming along. And they just stayed the same. They stayed themselves. And I love that about them.
Yeah, I think they made enough money that they had the ability to do that, because normally when you deal with record companies and publishing and stuff, it's like, well, this is a great original song, but here, let me do that. Like, if you ever watch Songland on TV, I know they have Boyz II Men on, they have BB Rexa, and people come and perform their original songs, and then Boyz II Men will say, okay, I like this one, we're going to put it on the record. And they have all these producers in there, and so these people come, and the songs are great. And then you can see Hollywood manipulating it, going, oh, if you just change this right here, oh, if you change this word right here, oh, let's add this, and before you know it, it's just like everything else, because the producers, that they have there are just injecting their DNA on stuff, and then, oh, this is wonderful. Mm-hmm. What happened to raw, natural, good? You don't have to tweak everything. You don't have to touch some stuff. There still is raw talent. There's still moments that if you're a celebrity and an artist and a singer, say, then you should, want to showcase that at least maybe once on an album or doing something, to just show your range of talent and things. But then again, what do I know? I'm just a producer, so I only know how things work.
Yeah, you only do this stuff for a living.
Yeah, I know. It's only been 5 years in movies.
And it kills me because, if you look on my Napster playlist right now, I have everything from Wayne Newton to Metallica on there. I have a little bit of everything. And a lot of the stuff today, I think one of the worst inventions, even though I lean on it some with sound, is a lot of the processing we can do today. Because back in I'm feeling old. Back in the old days, we had to walk uphill 5 miles to process the sound. People had to
have the snow. Yeah.
Yeah, they had to have talent because you couldn't auto tune and you couldn't do all this stuff to them. And it just seemed like it was more of the person doing it. And now,
of course, I
can't sing. When I sing in the shower, the water quits running. But if I record it right and want to sit and mess with the editing, I can sound like anybody.
Well, in your own mind, I can in my own mind. But the thing is back in the day, my grandfather was a mule boy. He was 10 years old in the coal mines, and the mule was more important than him. Like, I can't, as a mother, even imagine sending my child. But, like, they dealt with so much more, and, you know, we don't have to put our kids through all that kind of stuff, you know, and we should be grateful for it. But everybody's becoming a pussy. No offense, they are.
Yeah.
And then everyone loves to tell everyone else what to do, and they know it all. Like, shit, once we get talking about me, I'll be like, how did you explain me?
Exactly.
You know, like, if I listened to those people, I'd be exactly where those people are.
Yeah.
And it's like, eventually they just get like, I can't fucking say anything bad about her, so they just point the finger more to the left and just like whoever it lands on. People are so ridiculous. Like, I don't care about what anybody else does enough, like, because I'm so focused on me. I love supporting people because I'm doing what I like to do. And, you know, if they go and become the vice president or, you know, get the award, that's awesome, dude. Like, I am super proud of you because all boats rise with the tide. Yeah. So that's on you, you know, like, why aren't you doing what makes you happy? And you're just pissed because I'm happy and you can't take it away. You can't buy it, you can't take it, and I'm not going to let you. I earn my own happiness. So if you're going to be a miserable little jerk, go over in the corner and just be quiet because, like, nobody wants it. But that's just me.
You know, I look at this. I could barely be my own moral compass. I can't be yours. You know, and
that's right.
While my path,
Lord,
my path, I may not have a perfect plan because I've never planned a whole hell of a lot in my life, but it's my path. You know, and
that's right.
And I can't make you walk mine, and you can't make me walk yours. You know, everybody's got to do it themselves.
And the reason why, like, I talk about it is because I've done projects. And the truth is if everybody could do it and I was just uniquely, there would be a lot more people alive from the opioid and heroin epidemic and depression. And, you know, I've fought through all of that kind of stuff and losing my husband, which we can get into, obviously, you know, there. But life happens and people just want to cry, play the victim. But, like, you know, like, my children they were looking up at me, you know, when I was accepting the American flag from, you know, at his funeral. And it's like, I looked at him and I smiled and I'm like, aren't you so proud of your father? I still don't know how I was strong enough to do that stuff. But, you know, God only uses broken people in my mind, whether you're religious or not, in my mind. And it, you know, it says God chooses people to suffer so they in turn can help others who suffer. So take God out of it if you want to. The principle's still the same. Yeah. If, you know, if I was supposed to be this failure and that rock bottom that everyone talks about, the people pointing the fingers never were at the bottom or the top. And I've been at rock bottom. And then when I got to the top, I realized that all the people at the top at least dipped their foot in there, you know, if not had to land flat on their back just like I did. And it's like, it's fight or flight. And I tried to die and I just couldn't. And I'm writing in my journal, like, God, I'm hell in Nike sneakers just because I was wearing Nikes that day. And I was like, I can't die. I can't live. And what is the purpose? And it's like, you know, that was now a blink of an eye. And this year will be 17 years that, you know, all of that went down. And I'm so grateful. But at the same time, like, I lost my husband to it because it can't save everybody. I tried, you know, you can only do so much. And it's very hard sometimes because I'm, like, alone a lot with my feelings of this because so many people die or don't even, like, you know, it's people don't get to see this side of stuff. So it's like, I love to talk about it and share it and everyone thinks I'm full of shit and, like, whatever, but I don't care, you know, and because it was 17 years ago, that was prior to the epidemic even happening. So there wasn't Facebook, there wasn't all this stuff. And they're like, oh, you weren't that bad. Like, what? You know, I've taken 100 Vicodin a day for 5 years. You tell me how that feels. Like, I went to the bathroom, I puked, and I did two things at once. And at Oxford, and I remember coming back to class, and, like, 7 people were clapping, like, because you could, like, hear. And it was like, oh, my God. You know, and it's like, whatever. And here I am talking about it.
Yeah. Well, you know, I tell everybody I've never done anything that I'm ashamed of. Now,
yeah,
I've done a lot of things that I probably should be ashamed of, but I mean, everything makes you who you are. You know,
That's right.
They talk about the butterfly effect. If you can change one thing, it could change your whole life and take away what's good now.
And you can start like a storm in China, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But, shoot, what was I going to say? It literally just came out of my mouth. I don't know. Yeah. Butterfly effect. Oh, it was a good one too. Just trust me. It must have been a lie. Who knows? Whatever. Yeah. Sorry, it'll come to me at 3:00 in the morning when we're not on the podcast. Yeah, just like everything else.
I'm gonna be asleep, and all of a sudden my phone's gonna ring. What in the world? And I thought of it. Hassenpfeffer.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Oh well, whatever. Now I'm just sounding stupid.
It happens. It happens.
Oh, that's what it was. Nobody there. I say, like, when you go through all this stuff, there's nothing anybody could do to you that you haven't already done to yourself. So, like, you know, it's. And once you realize that, you're like, holy crap! Like, you know, you thought the world was going to take you down. It was really probably you, because you get in your own mind, and then you start these scenarios that never existed, but like somehow they're Universal Studios in your brain right now.
Oh yeah.
So it's like I had to start training my brain to stop doing that stuff, because it's just nuts. And people get so encapsulated in it, and I feel bad for them, but they're like, I want what you have. And I'm like, you can. No, it's like I got up every single morning and tried to do one thing a little bit better. And I've been doing it for 17 years, and they're like, oh, that's a long time. Well, I'm sorry. You just said you wanted my life. And it didn't start yesterday. Like, you know, I was bad for about 6 to 9 months, like with withdrawals. And then I had to just pick myself up and start learning how to live again. So, you know, it's not going to take you that long. But, yeah, I've been practicing this for, you know, a long time. It's been 2/3 of my life almost. Yeah. So I wanted it bad enough. And, you know, if not, I'll see you in 10 years, and you can still bitch and complain about the same shit, and I'll tell you the same answer, and then I'll just wait another 10 years. I mean, this could go around and around and around, because it's not easy, and everyone complains and bitches, and I'm like, really? You know, like, you came to me for advice. I'm giving you the advice, and you're just like, okay, well, I'm just going to go on being happy, and you could deal with you. I gave you all the instructions. Choose what you want to do, but you know, don't be fucking miserable around me, because that's your choice.
Yeah. Oh, you talk about people not taking advice. You ought to be in medicine. Oh, everybody asks me for advice, and nobody takes it.
No, but I still give it, because it plants a seed sometimes, you know. And it's like, you know, even like my father did it to me when I was a kid. I was, oh, he's so old, doesn't know what he's talking about. My father saved my life just with his antidotes. And, you know, you have to learn, you have nothing, but you have everything, if that makes sense. Like, yeah. And that's what I wanted. And people want money, people want things, and that stuff doesn't make you happy at all, trust me, because everyone that has, like a lot of people that have it, I mean, unless you could bring your Bugatti to bed and cuddle it, and it spoons you back, I mean, that was $3 million that you just tried to make yourself happy. And, you know, it's like that stuff, it's nice to have, and I'm happy for people, but they focus too much on that stuff and not enough on even themselves. Like, they'll drop $3 million on a car, but you know, they won't even help their own mental health, or, you know, just try to be better. So whatever, it's their choice, and more power to you. But wouldn't it be it's so much more fun on this side? It really is.
It is. And, you know, talking about fun, you know, some of these productions and stuff you've been involved with, you know, I know you're connected with the View Askew-averse.
Oh yeah, they're a bunch of my friends.
You know, that would be so awesome. You know, you've had a lot of fun and done a lot of really cool stuff just by getting out and doing this.
Yeah, and that's so. Like my first film, I got hired as the PR person. It was the one, it's on Amazon now and like 27 other platforms. It stars Ernie O'Donnell from Clerks, from View Askew, and WWE superstar Gene Snitsky. And a week on to set, just because I had a natural curiosity, I asked questions. Some things surfaced and came to light. And on my first film set, the first week, they said, would you be the production manager and run the entire set? And I'm like, and even Ernie, I'm like, Ernie, you've been in this industry for 25 years. I've been here for 5 days, you know? And he's like, it's your choice. So I ordered Filmmaking for Dummies. and I took the opportunity. I ordered a book, and I had an opportunity. And, you know, it's like it took a long time, but it threw me into a whole new, you know, you just got to take a chance. I figured if I didn't do well and I hated it, I'd never have to do it again, but at least I tried.
Yeah.
And for dummies book, literally, like after I bought that, the next film I made was with Academy Award winning producer Robert May. And we did a documentary for orphans down in Haiti. And I mean, it was incredible. And we raised a lot of money. So, you know, people are like, oh, I don't want to go to school. And I have a master's degree in journalism and all that. It doesn't matter. Filmmaking is a whole new, different ballgame. And the For Dummies book, I mean, it works if you pay attention. There's a new one that actually came out, revised in November of last year, and it's really good. I'm actually looking at it right now because I still use it for reference. And, you know, I have no shame in that. I love the For Dummies books. I hope to one day write one, like producing For Dummies, because I don't think they have one. But I'm not that crazy yet because, you know, maybe in a little while when things, you know, could calm down a little bit and I learn how to be a better producer. So I actually have to do better things. But we're getting there.
Yeah, it takes time. Nobody's born knowing it. And I'm patient. Patience is a superpower, and I'm patient. So it's crazy. People get nervous when they see me being patient because, like, I'm just waiting. It's like, it makes people nervous. It's so funny. Like, just having the normal qualities, like patient, you know, general happiness, being positive. It's like everybody thinks you're fucking weird when you have it now, and it's awkward for them, and that makes me sad because if that's the way the world's going, then I don't want to hang out with all of them. Yeah, and you know, shoot, I look at it this way. When I started making my videos, you know, I had told you about my YouTube channel. I didn't know anything about that. I'd never done green screen before. I'd never done any of this stuff, and I just learned as I went. You know, one of my videos was actually on a show tonight, called Lockdown Living Room Show, comedy show.
Nice.
And
that's so cool.
I didn't realize it whenever I sent it to the guys that, you know, I filmed it in front of a green screen. I didn't do anything with the green screen. I sent them a raw video. Yeah, the hairspray I used on my hair was green. So my clown, basically the hair is gone, and it's amazing.
Yeah, that's you know, rule number one. If you match the thing behind you, change.
Yeah, it was so amazing. I'm like, that's cool. And it was so funny.
Yeah.
The host, you know, he popped in and done things, and he's like, he doesn't realize his hair's green in front of the green screen. It's great.
Yeah, we used to have fun with that, you know, and we used to have a sheet and have the meteorologist in front of it, which is his head, you know, floating. And he would put like a green leaf like on his man parts and then stand in front and tell the weather, but it was like see-through into the weather, you know. We had it's the little things, you know what I mean?
Green screen is so much fun. Oh, man, it is so much fun. I love doing it.
We have a psych wall at my our business here in Scranton because it's like 14,000 square feet, and we have a full top of the line recording studio. We have editing booths. We've got you know, like I said, the psych wall. We've got like a black box. We're expanding and doing a lot of stuff here, just in this place in Scranton in the Pocono Mountains, and it's fun, but it's cool because chroma key could be like any color. Everyone likes to use green, but we'll always like paint white, or it could be blue, or it could be pink, or I mean, it's like it's cool because you could do whatever. But yeah, if you're in a green screen, you can't have green hair.
Yeah, and I learned that. I changed it to blue afterwards, but and
there you go. Now, if they have a blue screen, don't wear the blue hair.
Exactly. Exactly, but this clown is so horrible. He's amazing. I love him because he's the part of me. My stand up is I'm kind of a cross between Rodney Carrington and Bill Engvall.
Okay.
And I'm not horrible. Just I cuss a bunch, but yeehaw is me. And,
that's me too. I love Jesus, but I say fuck all the time. It's terrible.
But my clown, during that 10-minute video I did for this show, he chugged a fifth of bourbon. So
oh my gosh!
Which it was tea, but If I drank,
Oh, okay.
like the clown, I would be dead.
I
But
couldn't even swallow. It's so like harsh, you know?
yeah, but he is so much fun to do because he's just that part that has no boundaries at all. He is just, oh man.
Well, I never had boundaries when I drank bourbon either. Did you?
No, that's funny.
Well, there you go.
I've got whiskey and bourbon here at the house, but now I cook with it.
Oh, well, that's good. Yeah, I used to drink that, and I was great until I wasn't. You know, like it was just like, is that it? I'm like, whoa. So no, I haven't. Like alcohol was never an issue for me, but my hangovers last like 4 days now, so I haven't drank in a very long time, and I'm okay with it. I kind of actually like listening to everybody else get, you know, stupid, and I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I left that life, you know. But then I had a meeting this past week, and everyone was drinking, and I wasn't, and they were all getting, you know, starting to argue, and I'm like, whoa, okay, listen. Jesus must be coming back if I'm the most responsible person in this place right now, because we were talking about all about my life, and you know we're working on some projects to, you know, tell the story about it. I want to release, you know, my original journals because I kept journals throughout the whole thing, but we're doing a film on it, and it's still just in the beginning. But you know, it was like I'm here because I was the train wreck years ago, and like seriously. How am I the most responsible person here? Like, I thought everybody was going to be watching my every move. I had to watch theirs because they're like 7 foot tall, you know, babies. Like, just, I'm like, wow, no more wineries for meetings and stuff. Like, you know, I like a good charcuterie board, but like, no judgment. Just, holy cow, I'm not supposed to be the most responsible person here. Okay.
Yeah, I always tell
we're
people,
doing this movie because I lived, you know.
yeah, I always tell people, no matter how old the people in the room are, I was the oldest 20-year-old in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's the way I've always been. I've always been the oldest person in the room, no matter what the ages were.
Yeah, I was an old soul too. Like I grew up on a farm, and you know, we had nothing. Like my pictures as a kid are playing with a stick and dirt, and I show that to my boys, and I'm like, see, I survived without the internet. I remember when we had Prodigy, and like it didn't even really do anything, but it was like, oh, the internet. You know, and you played like those Matterhorn floppy disk games with Goofy, and oh man, they don't know how good they had it in Frogger, and like all of the Atari stuff, and kids don't have any idea because they're just spoiled. They're spoiled, man. You know, they're doing stupid Fortnite dances, and they're spoiled. They should just see if they could cross the road. That's why they can't cross the road now, because they're so concerned about, like, you know, their man bun that they don't look left and right anymore because of Frogger. I guarantee you.
I saw a man bun with a braid last night.
Oh, they're like hefty bags. They look like a bunch of hefty bags in line when they're standing in line with man buns. Like hefty, you know?
Yeah. No, I haven't always had the greatest hair choices. I did have a mullet when I was younger, and not just a mullet.
That's great.
Remember the curly back mullets?
Like the barge?
Yes, I had a curly back mullet. The top and the sides were straight, but the back of my hair curls. And
you just said that out loud, right?
Yes. Oh, I have no shame.
I'm just kidding.
I have
I think
shame.
that's great.
And
I always, that's great. I love it.
But now I have what I call a nullet. Yep, out of business in the front and parties over in the back. A nullet.
Gotcha. So you wear a hat.
Sometimes.
I understand. I always, sometimes, like, I have to tell people, like, when they're just having a bad day, I'm like, look, you're being the front of a mullet right now. Just stop. You know, like, everybody. Nice. I'm like, come on. You have to understand, like, the things that come out of my mouth when you're hearing it for the first time, there's a good chance I might be hearing it for the first time too. So. Yeah,
I understand that well. I understand.
It's ADHD. It's a superpower. I don't take medication for it. I just, you know, if you harness it, it's a superpower.
Well, what was real fun, and it's still not the greatest in the world, after I had my strokes, I lost all my filters. All of them. I had no tact. And to be insulted by somebody with a stutter is funny as hell.
Oh my God, I
yes.
can only imagine. I think I'd go crazy. I'd be like, "Oh my God, I'll say it for you."
Oh, you know how I like to talk anyway, and when I stutter, it is miserable. Oh, I hate it.
I was listening to Joe Rogan a couple months ago, and he was talking about mushrooms, and the guy on the podcast was saying he had a bad stutter that would come up, and when like a girl that he liked would say hi, he couldn't, and it was like, so he did mushrooms one day, and he climbed up to a tree, and there was like a storm that came through, and he's like, I just held on to the tree and was like, don't stutter, don't stutter. He's like, I heard the thunder, saw the lightning. After it was over, I climbed down, okay, and then I went home, and the next day the girl said hi to him, and he goes, hi, how are you? And he hasn't stuttered since. And it's like, all of that stuff is nuts. And I know we're doing a lot of, with military people for PTSD and using microdosing and whatnot. So I'm not judging all that. I don't do that. But, if it helps people, I mean, the stuff I've been reading about, it's great. But to each their own, just because I'm, opioids and cocaine and all that stuff was my thing. Yeah. So as long as that stuff doesn't get legal, and even if it did, I wouldn't.
I'm a huge proponent of CBD. I love CBD. That has helped me a whole lot. I use a brand called
CBD.
Toy.
I like the gummy bears before bed.
I haven't done those. I've just vaped it, but I vape a brand called Toy. That I think they're testing like 3 labs to prove it's not THC in it at all. Because I can't have any of that in my system.
Well, yeah.
And it's a game changer.
It smells like it. It smelled like real CBD, like the flower. You can't tell the difference. And I looked it up, and it was like, unless you test it, like the smell, the texture, whatever. I think all this stuff is fantastic because I love, the natural route because I have no choice. It's Advil or essential oils or, CBD. I like the edibles. I like them to help me sleep. They do. And, so I don't know. I guess I'm no fun now because I genuinely already partied so much, and I'm like, I don't want to feel like crap the next day. I don't want to throw up every 5 seconds.
Welcome to my world.
But it's like, it's so cool, It's like, I love the fact that you don't need anything, if you want something great, but you don't need it. Yeah. And I'll take that. That's a good milestone for here. But we're still moving forward, so who knows? Who the heck knows?
It works. Oh man,
It does. It does.
Well, Stacey, we've been going for about half an hour now. I'm gonna have you back on here because I figured out when I go over half an hour, I start losing folks. I figured that out. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get you back on here because we're not even close to being done.
Okay.
But, I want everybody.
Sounds good.
I want everybody to go to 258 Studios, and I want everybody to go on ahead and book the place. So we want it to be just booked up until like the end of time.
Yep. We can't really film too much, but we can in Pennsylvania because we're open again, and it beats New York and LA, and we're right outside of New York City. It's gorgeous, but we travel. I've worked in 47 countries in the film industry and TV industry. I've been to like 73, not that matters, but it's like, I've all of my people, we've done, the Toyota commercials for the Super Bowl for a few years. We did the Paralympic Games in South Korea. We've won 13 or so American Advertising Awards. And our films and documentaries have changed, people's lives and made money. So we have a lot of really cool ideas. We have a great team of people. They're all over the world. So we always have like somebody doing something somewhere. Like we have a marketing team in London at that office that is the majority of the work there. And I went to school with the owner of that at Oxford, and then I worked with her at the Olympics in London. And, it's like life takes you places and you just meet people, and it's funny how things work out, and it's great though. So yeah, 258studios.com. And if you look me up, I'm Stacey with an E, Stacey. and Toy. I don't know why people want to call me Troy, or like, is it Tooye? Like, it's Toy. Like, Toys R Us. Like, Tooye R Us? No. Like, I don't understand. How could you screw it up? So, Toy, like the store that closed, and Stacey with an E. But yeah, message me and all that. Like, I'll get back to people as much as possible. I'm on Instagram too, at Stacey Toy. But anybody can message me if you want to. If you send me dick pics, like, I'm going to just add it to the newsletter that I'm going to put out eventually, because I have enough. And I don't know on what planet anybody thinks, like, it's called bumping uglies for a reason, because, you know, it's a reason why you're hidden in your pants and not on your face, because no one wants to see it.
Exactly.
So, and even so, like, most of the time the girls are like, you're impressed with that? All right. Well, like I said, I'm going to put out a newsletter eventually, because people think you're a widow, and I'm not the slut widow. Like that, I know a lot of people take that route, but like, that was my college and high school years. I'm done, you know, like I was taking painkillers for a reason. But, you know, so anybody can message me though. I'm not gonna, and I'll get back to everyone, you know, and I'll try to help as much as I can. But yeah, I mean, I can't, you know, people expect me, oh, can you bring me money? Can you bring me here and there? I'm not going to, you know, do all I can, but you better make it worth it, or enticing or something, because, you know, it took me all this time, and I'm friends with a lot of these people because, you know, I spent the time, and, you know, so fuck off, go spend your own time, you know, like, I met most of these people at conventions, and we stayed in touch and networked, and I didn't sleep with anybody. So it's possible.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Well, cool. Like I said, I know we still got a whole bunch more to cover, so I'm going to have you back on here. And
all right.
I appreciate you coming on today.
You're welcome. No problem, Brad Pittman.